up to 0. Hi, you're listening to the American Patriot with Thomas Leaguer, brothers and sisters of the Republic. I'm back after a 3-week / almost 4-week break. I had to get rescheduled because I was on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. to 7. Now I'm 7 to 8. And my life was just a little bit hectic there for a while. So today I want to start with some international news. Fatal bomb weakens Syrian regime. President Bashar Assad has had 3 of his most senior officials assassinated by a bomb. The actual regime would like to say that it was a suicide bomber, but the actual rebels are claiming that they were remote bombs. See, I see the Middle East as being very unstable right now. It's Libya, Egypt fell, and the biggest and most popular parties are the Muslim Brotherhood, along with Jordan, which is pushing for Muslim regime. Iran has a Muslim regime, and they're looking for to make nuclear weapons as far as the U.S. is concerned. But I feel that any nation that wants to have nuclear powers, it has the right to, because especially Iran is surrounded by other nuclear powers. So I don't think that's an out of this world proposition. They're trying to keep their safety. If it was America in the place of Iran, I think we as people would think that we had the right to have nuclear powers, which I don't see the sanctions. I see the sanctions and stuff that the U.S., the EU, the UN, etc. they're doing to Iran are very are almost acts of war. So I see the Middle East as being strengthened, actually, by all these uprisings, and they're strengthened in the fact that they're being solidified into under Muslim control. So they're Muslim controlled now, and the ones that aren't, that are uprising, are definitely going to be Muslim controlled. Jordan has boycotts because they don't believe the elections are fair. They want the Muslim Brotherhood to actually have a say, and that's the biggest thing. The Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East and other factions like it are gaining big control, and I believe that they are going to choke off the petroleum exports, and the petroleum itself, and the Suez Canal, which gets most of the petroleum exports to the Western societies like Europe and the U.S., Canada, etc. So we're standing on a precipice of a World War III. And the thing is, what we as a people need to do is look and see what we want to do. World War II has been over for over half a century. Korea almost the same. And we still have troops in Korea, Japan, Germany. We need to put all our troops back on American soil. We need to consolidate our power. We need to chastise the military-industrial complex that has been completely overruling society since World War II. After World War II, there's a power vortex that was filled by the military-industrial complex. They had weapons. They wanted to keep building weapons. People were making money. They didn't want to stop making money. They thought it was a good idea, and Eisenhower warned us against it, and now we are in a definite crossroads where we need to make the Constitution reestablished, chastise the military-industrial complex and all its factions, and stop the bigwigs of this, which most of the bigwigs that are making money off the military-industrial complex are also making money from the economic instability that's caused by the Federal Reserve, the EU, the central banking systems that have been ruling for way too long. I would like to make sure that people know that they can call in at 414-935-2951. I'm accepting calls right now. I also want to talk about the bombing in Bulgaria that the Israelis blame on Iran. They have no real proof, but they blame it on Iran. The thing is that if the most of the Middle East is solidifying under a Muslim regimes that are taking hold after these rebellions, because most of the regimes that were in the Mid East were put in there by Westerners, mainly the U.S., Europe, to be Western friendly, and that is what is pretty much the Middle East has been poked and prodded to a point where now it's spinning out of control, and the people are solidifying what they want, and that's the Muslim fundamentalist governments now, and that's what's solidifying around Israel, which is a lone Westernist, and which I'm calling it a lone Westernist type state, but it's still kind of iffy because they're becoming more fundamentally Judeo, and that's also confirmed by people that have lived there, that they're saying that they're enforcing more of the Taurian laws and texts, Deuteronomy, etc., from the Old Testament. So therefore, it's this lone Judeo-Christian type state in the middle of a Muslim solidified Middle East, and they're all looking at Israel, and that means that we're going to have to either back them or we're going to have to pull out or something. I don't think we need to be the savior of Judeo-Christianity in the Middle East. We don't need to back Israel. Israel is an illegal state. We stole Palestinian land, and everybody hates us over there. And the thing is, also in the paper today, we have a thing. There's every day in the Journal Sentinel there's a thing called PolitiFacts, and they measure if it's true or false, the fact itself that they're talking about. And they say Obama's first apology interview was no apology. Or Obama's first interview was no apology. There's some people who are in the Secure America Now movement, which they call a broad-based grassroots coalition, and they have 2 million national security activists. They say that Obama's first interview was apologizing for America, and which it really wasn't if you read the actual article. But the thing is, America does have to apologize. We have done a lot of bad stuff, and that does not weaken our country to apologize. Apologizing for something you've done wrong is not a bad thing. You have to you gain strength through apologizing. You gain humility. We live in a hubristic, prideful society that is not learning from its mistakes. It's being dumbed down by a media, a fat, bloated media pig that is feeding it lies from people that want us to hear only what they want us to hear, and that is not right. If you look at history, look at Rome. There was a republic, and then there were people whispering. Then there was Julius Caesar, who fought a bunch of wars in Germania, and other European countries that they praised him, and there were people whispering in his ear. Just like today, there are people whispering in ears, telling people that you can gain more power. So Julius Caesar grabbed power of emperorship. He ended up dying, but the emperorship stayed with Octavian Caesar, and then it turned into an empire, and then the empire expanded, and that's what eventually led to the downfall of Rome. We need to stay a republic, brothers and sisters. We need to stay as one republic under people. The thing is, the people give the power to the leaders. Leaders don't want you to know this, and that's what media has downplayed. there can't a person cannot be if you looked at somebody on a corner and who had a sign and said, "I'm Emperor of the United States," you'd laugh at him because he has no backing. The only people that actually have power are the people that have people behind them. People derive power from other people, from masses of people. You cannot have power unless you have masses of people, and that's what us as the United States have to learn. We have the power, they don't. If we turn and say we're not going to take this, then they cannot take it from us. We are the people. That is what the founding fathers understood. They knew that, and that's what the Great Awakening in Europe, I forgot the name for it, but there was a movement in Europe, especially in France, that moved into England, and that's what made the movement to become an independent nation in America. And we thought that if we had all these different states, that they would and the checks and balances that they would actually it would never, there was no way that there could ever be a dictatorship. But now, with starting with Bush, starting with Clinton, Bush, Obama, the National Defense Authorization Act, the Patriot Act, we have these powers being taken by the president, which makes him almost the emperor of the United States, not the president of the United States. And that is the problem. We cannot give up 1 ounce of freedom for a little bit of safety. That is not the way to go. You do not deserve to be free if you will give 1 ounce of freedom for a little bit of safety, because there's no freedom in the safety. And there's no safety in this in giving up these freedoms. Look at the TSA. There was a story about a TSA worker who, under the TSA regulations, human remains such as ashes are legal to go. As long as they go through the X-ray machine, they are legal to go onto a plane. A man came onto the plane, and he had a urn of ashes, and it went through the X-ray machine. It was fine. It was clean. And a female TSA worker opened it up, dumped some of the ashes on the floor, and laughed at the man. That is not freedom. That is not humanity. That is not what we want. I would have no problem with a new world order or government, a whole world government, if it was a democratic government. But that's not what this is. The UN is made up of officials from different countries who have different philosophies, and if there is a new world order, there is a one world government. If you're kidding yourself if you don't think there is, because the UN is a one world government. It just hasn't solidified its power, and it doesn't have one idealism, and it's still struggling. And there's some people that want an autocratic, authoritarian idealism, and there's some that want a Republican, people's power-oriented government. And that's the problem. And central banks are playing into the authoritarian autocracy or aristocracy that is being played out in the economic and governmental parts of the world, and most of the world, at least the big powers, China, the U.S., the European Union and England, Russia. It's all being carried out to this one tune, to this Pied Piper of raping civil rights, raping the American people of what they deserve, and raping every people. I mean, people are people. They deserve rights no matter what. And if you push people to a point, they're going to put into power dictators who say they can do this, or dictators who say they can do that, or religious fundamentalists that say they can do this or that. And that's what we're doing. And America has poked and prodded the Middle East to the point where it's spinning out of control. It's solidifying into a Muslim fundamentalist oriented entity. Most North Africa and most of the Middle East, except for Israel, is rebelling against their governments and turning into a Muslim-oriented regime. And I don't know if I doubt that they'll become one entity, but I think they could become like a type of United States where they're different states but ruled by one government. They're done being poked and prodded, and they're following the ideals that are most pleasing to them, that they think will get them out of being victims of black ops and all these military rapings that the U.S., Britain, Europe, Russia has put upon them. So, again, I want to extend an invitation to call in. It's 414-935-2951. Just call in whenever you feel like. If you hear something you want to talk about, then please call in. Just taking a break here, trying to figure some stuff out. The paper has a lot of good stuff in it today, and I'm trying to touch on a lot of stuff because it all ties in. We're all part of this world, and we need to talk about it. And the thing that really discourages me is people are not calling into the show. And I do have the one caller that I usually have call in. Again, I've been missing for 3 weeks. I've been MIA. A lot of stuff goes on, believe me, especially financially, and in this financial climate that we have now. And I really want us to talk about things. I really want to interact with other Americans, and that's the big thing. Is being a beacon to talk, and being a beacon to lead a resistance. We need to form up and not let these pig dogs take control of our lives and take control of what we believe. We need to stand up for ourselves and really, really, really become a force. So I mean, it's this. If you want to call in, it's 414-935-2951. I'm still getting back in the groove, getting back in the New York groove here. Gosh, you want here? Let's read a funny story now. I'm trying to wait for some callers, so let's read a funny story. Discovery in Austria revises fashion history. There's support found that the use of bras was common in the 1400s. We have a photo here that is of a medieval bra discovered in a debris-filled vault of an Austrian castle. Hold on one second. So yeah, we're still trying to figure out if anybody's calling in. I'm trying to figure out this again. Again, I've been back for maybe 20 minutes now, so I'm still trying to figure out the phone lines. Hey, I need help real quick. We're trying to figure out the phones right now. Sounds like I'm on the phone. We're trying to figure out a way to get people to call in because obviously I don't have that right. Hopefully my message is still reached by all you guys. I hate to keep having these technical difficulties. I'm trying to figure out how to open up these phone lines because I think they're off the hook. All right, I'll keep going on here. So let's move on to a different subject. So let's talk about Mitt Romney and President Obama. Two complete jack donkeys. I'm not gonna say the real word, but donkeys. One being the donkey groomed for office, which is going to stay in office for the next term, and the other one groomed to just play dummy to the whole thing. And oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get these technical things sorted out. Okay, so we have one that was a president or leading member of Bain, which dismantled, and no matter how he puts it, it dismantled businesses and completely gutted them and got what they could from them. Very seldom is the key word. Very seldom did they ever really help a business, but they did gut businesses and sometimes I'm not going to say they never did, but sometimes they actually helped a business and found a way for them to survive. But a lot of times it just gutted the business and took it for granted. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get it.
The red one. You remember how to work it?
Yeah.
You have to check that before you start.
All right, you can call in again. We had the ringer off for some reason. I don't know why. Technical difficulties again. Gosh, I'm sorry about that. But we got it all figured out, and we got a call now. Hello?
Hello?
What's going on?
How's it going?
Good. So what's your? I wanna start out with your feelings on the Middle East right now, because this Anthony Maglio from Georgia.
George Seisman.
Okay, we'll call you George Seisman. All right.
Israel Zionist.
Yeah. So, you're a Zionist?
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you feel about my remarks about the fat bloated media?
Oh man, people need to wake the shit up quick. I mean, wake up. They need to wake up.
Oh, I actually want to make a comment. I was one of 3 shows, I believe, that actually got on the iTunes because I was more clean than the rest.
Really?
Yeah, so other people who wouldn't hear this otherwise, that aren't in Wisconsin or even know about River West Radio, can actually see us on iTunes. Look for the American Patriot. I think after the show, I'm going to make a cheap icon to put on there. I don't know.
Be an American flag.
I was really thinking of just doing that.
Or American flag with "Don't Tread on Me" superimposed over it.
I would think just the yellow "Don't tread on me" with the snake. So I want to talk to
What's going on in the Middle East, man? I mean,
well, I think that we've done enough to them where they're finally rising up. And the thing is, the regimes that have been put in place, pretty much, most of the regimes that are getting overthrown by the rebels, especially in Syria, Libya, which we supported at one point. I forget his name. The guy from Libya, the guy that got killed because he was such a horrible person. Well, whatever. I can't remember everything, guys. Don't judge me. I'm just a newscaster and a patriot. I can't remember every fucking thing.
Someone Gaddafi?
Yeah, Gaddafi. There we go. That good old jolly fellow of mine. Yeah, Gaddafi overthrown, and then Egypt overthrown, and Jordan too wasn't overthrown, but there's a lot of boycotts of voting and boycotts of a lot of different things where they're pushing for the Muslim Brotherhood and similar factions to take control, and they are taking control. They're gaining ground, and in Syria as well, there's Muslim factions gaining ground, and that's the big thing. There's a solidifying factions of Muslims going and. There's a solidifying faction of Muslim feelings, Muslim attitudes, extremism, religiously towards the Muslim side around Israel, and Israel is not the Western idealist state that it once was, because it is becoming more religiously fundamental in the Taurian fact, as it's taking rights away from women, following more the Deuteronomy type codes.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the unclean time of the month, you have to do this, you got to do that, leprosy, blah blah blah. God did this, God did that, God's an alien, whatever. But yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, it's all and it's all perpetuated through media and America. It's not even religion. It's just this pseudo religious politicalism. You know, it's almost politics is almost a pseudo religion that Americans have taken up. And they figure that these two parties are either good or bad, and they could never be on the same side. And that's the thing. It's all a play. It's all an act that they're putting on for the American people to make them. And it's like, look at the birdie, punch you in the face. You know, it's a fat, bloated conspiracy that needs to be unearthed, because it's not going to work out.
I could give this won't be kosher about everyone else that I work with in the Army, but I think personally, I think religious extremism is asinine and fundamentalism, but that's my opinion. But that's to say, one thing I support the Middle East on is that they will never pick up on an agenda that is supported by a Western culture. If it doesn't go along with their personal beliefs, it doesn't matter how many people of theirs we kill.
But it's
hundreds of thousands with drone attacks. They will not, regardless of the influence that Israel has on that region of the world. Or
yeah, but that's the thing. Israel tries to have that influence, but they really don't, because they're all the other Middle East, everybody else in the Middle East, Palestine especially, just see them as this westernized culture that just blam. It was almost like a bomb. They just slapped them there. Everybody get out. Show's over. This is our land. This is not your land. Not from the New York rivers or the Gulf Stream waters. You get the hell out.
Right.
So I mean, I just see religious fundamentalism, the bipartisan political pseudo-religious stuff that's in America, and all these. The thing is, America is so focused on entertaining itself and pleasing itself, and people don't want to learn. It's like they dumb down the education, and then they make something to occupy your mind otherwise, and then they have like these people that are. And everybody thinks they're street smart. They're street smart. You know what? You got to be book smart too, because you could be so street smart, but you can still be smacked down by the hand of politics and power. So you need to learn. You need to know what history repeats itself if you don't learn from it. If you think, and a lot of people call me paranoid. I'm paranoid because I think that the government's taking over and this and that. If you think. How is it paranoid to think that people in power will abuse it? It's happened over and over and over. Look at Rome, look at Greece, look at the kings, queens of England. It happens. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely, and if you don't learn from history, it repeats itself.
There's a few things I want to caveat onto. One is that people want to call us paranoid. People, especially libertarians in general, are called paranoid. Like, the United States government is doing us a justice by mandating Obamacare. But I charge people, I demand every individual of the United States to read the Communist Manifesto, written by Karl Marx and Ziegler. And I want you and everyone to find the parallels between the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto and current policies active in the United States government. Every single plank is being followed, whether they're constitutional amendments like the 16th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and executive orders and the Federal Reserve and the mandate that all children go to school, otherwise parents will receive truancy tickets.
Yep.
Those were all that was all an ideology.
One thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about something I want to talk about something that's not usually talked about in this show. There's a show called American Colony, The Hutterites. And
the Hunterites you talking about?
Hutterites.
Hutter?
Hutterites, I believe it is. And they're like a very, very lax form of the Mennonites. There's the Hutterites, the Lehites, and there's all sorts. They're pretty much like they go from degree to degree. Some are more strict, some are not. The Hutterites are not as strict, but men are more encouraged to go to school. And because they do have chores, but the men and boys are allowed to go to school, and the rules are more lax. They'll say, oh, you can do the chores after you get out of school, but the girls have a lot more chores, and they are almost forced to quit school. At least the father is more to push the girl to quit school, and the mother kind of is pushing more for her to stay in school, but yet when the mother's around the father, she'll push for her to go out of school. It's very sexist.
They're extreme fundamentalists. They're almost like their style of life.
Yeah, but the
technology, but they still harness.
But the thing is, they do have
right?
The Hutterites can have technology. They can have electricity. Yeah. They can have cell phones and all that stuff. But the one thing I wanted to touch on is the fact of those kids are not forced to go to school because they're part of a religious sect. And religious sects do not have to pay taxes, nor follow some of the rules. And I believe that should be extended to every American. If you don't pay taxes, then you don't get some of the protection from the government. That's fine, but it should be your choice. If you don't want to send your kid to school or not, that's your choice. If you don't send your kid to school, you don't get the benefits of the schooling. You know, I just don't see it as something that should be forced. Nor Obamacare, where it's forcing people to buy something. It's forcing you to buy a product. And in Wisconsin, there's a mandate saying that you have to have car insurance, which is a good thing in some ways, but in other ways, it's taking away more freedom because it's mandating you to buy a product, to buy a commodity, and that is not freedom.
Absolutely.
I mean, what's your experience with the views of people in the military?
Sheep. For the most part. Well, I can't say that. Ron Paul has a really strong presence among military personnel.
Well, yeah, because he wants us to come back home. World War II's been over for over half a century, and we still have troops in Germany and Japan. I don't think that's too smart.
That's for strategic purposes.
How is it? Strategic purposes, but I don't think that Europe needs us or Japan needs us to be there. Like,
Japan is kicking us out. Actually, the bases in Okinawa and there's several Marine posts I know that are really big.
Yeah, but the sad thing is that we have to actually be kicked out. Like, we should think to ourselves, what is more important, the homeland or patrolling the world? We're not an empire. And if we are an empire, at least declare it. Like, don't be backhanded about it. Be like, if you're a man or if you're a person with some pride, like, you actually declare what you're doing. You don't just sit there and go through the back door. You know what I mean? You say, yes, right. This is what I'm trying to do. You don't pull the wool over people's eyes and say, oh, I'm just doing this to help this and that and meh. Yeah, that's not how it goes. This is America. We don't need to be patrolling the world. We don't need to be spending our tax money on patrolling other places that don't have wars. And look, Korean War has been over almost as just a little bit less time than World War II, and we still have people in Korea. And yes, Korea is still a threatened region, but they're not. Okay, think about it. If Korea has nuclear weapons, yeah, they might be able to get to the western coast of the U.S.
They can.
I doubt it. Exactly, I doubt it. Maybe the Aleutian Islands, maybe.
Yeah, the Aleutian Islands. Actually, I think.
But that's the thing. Look at the sophistication of our weapons. Like, okay, so we've spent all this money and military technology to be scared of somebody that's completely across the world. So if Iran gets weapons, we're scared of them sending nukes right into New York? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it.
Israel. It has nothing to do with us, and that's what I've been trying to tell people. Everyone supports Israel's agenda to,
that's the thing.
Dismantle the fundamentalist Islam countries of the world.
I hate to be I'm not anti-Jewish. I don't care about your religion.
I'm not anti-Semitic. I just think.
But I believe there's a Zionist agenda. I do believe there's a Zionist agenda in American politics today, and I believe it's perpetuated. I believe what I believe it is an Anglo-Saxon / Zionist, Jewish Zionist agenda. That they've made, that people have made together, and the ruling classes of America, especially America, have the wealth has become smaller in a smaller and smaller amount of people's hands, and actually there was a study done where Canadians are living $53,000 better on average than the average American.
But you gotta understand one thing about that is that $53,000 encompasses they have a socialized medical system, and that's all tied in. Like Canada's.
The thing is we have to spend money, but the thing is, how many people die in the waiting room in Canada? How many people don't get good health care? How many people die on average from diseases that they can't, because you can't, if you have a socialized medical system, you can't take care of everybody. If you look at it, we need rugged individualism, and we don't. We need individualism, and we don't need collectivism. Collectivism is not a healthy thing for humanity. Collectivism in the fact that small communities. What we need is a collectivism in a small sense where and especially politically, where the people that are in a certain square mile region take care of themselves. Like a Grecian city state, like a Grecian republic, or democracy, where it's the people who are living there make the laws, not people. Because in Wisconsin we vote representatives, and half the people don't even know who the representatives that we vote in are. And then they go to Washington, and people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Like, we don't know. Like, we're not involved. First of all, it's not even just the representative's fault. It's the fact that we don't get involved. Americans as a whole have a responsibility to get involved, to be educated. The educational system is trying to dumb down our children. We need to learn. Teach your children to learn about the civic system. Okay, I had civics for half a semester once in high school. Back in the day, it used to be like a course that was through all of high school and part of middle school. And elementary school. We need to teach our kids about the civic system, about being a good citizen. It is your responsibility. It's not an option. I don't care if you don't like the candidates. You still have to vote. You still have to act. You still have to be. You can protest. You can do what you want, but just do something. Don't let your rights be taken away by fat cats in Washington and lobbyists and people that don't care about you. We need to become a republic again, and that's why I stand on the words and principles of George Washington. George Washington turned down the presidency the first time he was told, and he finally took it after nobody else would be accepted. Thomas Jefferson, he stood on he wrote the Declaration of Independence. He stood on these principles. Andrew Jackson, Thomas Jefferson both stood on the principles against the central banking system. We need to go back to the policies of a republic, a democracy, something that works for the people, not for the fat cat white male. But the thing is, the thing that was flawed is from the beginning we did not specify in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution certain things, like we had to fight out the Civil War about blacks and people, and it was but in the beginning of our country, the people that made the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, didn't think the people of America were smart enough to make these decisions. Now the people of America, they weren't. But now we can, but we do. Listen. They still.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I want to say something. God bless it.
Go
Americans aren't stupid or aren't smart enough to make any decisions, because a study was just done, and 5% of the population of the United States knows the 5 rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. 5%. That's 1 in 20 people.
Okay, wait. But the thing is, but the people that were originally the people that thought that the regular people in the United States were not smart enough to make decisions and need representatives and stuff are the same people that are keeping the people dumb. We need to keep that's why I say civic classes, because these people need to be educated. And in this day and age, if you actually educate the people, they will be able to make the decisions. But the thing is, we're keeping the education system is keeping the people dumb, and therefore, it is not in the best interest. The people nowadays, I believe, have the capacity, if they are taught, to be able to make informed decisions. But we're not, the kids are not being taught. The only people that are being taught this stuff is if they go out and seek it on their own, and a lot of people won't. You know what I mean?
I just want to say that I think it honestly has less to do with. I think that civics classes should be mandatory.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
On the other hand, I don't think that education is going to even I don't think education is the answer.
Forced education, no. Forced education, no. But it has to start. It has to start when they're a kid. You have to be telling your children. You have to be showing your children certain things. Like, I remember when I was young, my dad showed me shows about the Holocaust, showed me shows about people that didn't have rights, and taught me the difference between wrong and right, and freedom and dictatorship. I remember I asked my dad one day, what was the difference between Nazis and Americans? And he said to me that Nazis treated their prisoners worse than Americans did. And that started me on the path to thinking, why, what, how, why. He taught me these things. And that's the thing. Parents have to take responsibility before the schools can. Because you can send your kid to like those K-negative schools, where it's before kindergarten and all that. It doesn't matter. Because the people that your kids looked up to most are you. It's you. You have to take responsibility. If they're your kids, they're going to look up to you more than they're going to look up to some teacher that they just met 1 minute ago that's trying to teach them social studies. Like, they want to learn it from you. You're their parent. And I think that's the biggest thing that needs to be learned in America to keep freedom. Kids want to learn from their parents. And that's the one thing I pride I'm glad that my dad was around, because my mom wasn't as great at the things that he was. But he definitely, you knew my dad. He was quite a SOB, but he knew what he was talking about.
He was great.
He knew what he was talking about, and he taught me the fundamentals of being an American. Well, I think I'm almost out of time here. I gotta wrap it up. I'm gonna give a shout out to Joseph Poussin and River West Radio and the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. The greatest country that ever was in the world, and we got to make it great again. I want to give a shout out and thank you to Anthony Malio. I want to give a shout out to Center Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Fuel Cafe, Sweetwater Organics. You got any shout outs to give, Anthony?
River West Radio, Ron Paul. If you can't back Ron Paul, Gary Johnson. He's a strong libertarian candidate. He's on
Gary Johnson?
Yeah, all 50 ballots, libertarian.
Gary.
Yeah, Gary.
I'll look him up tonight. I haven't heard of him. Thank you.
Yeah,
I got
all 50 ballots. There's a possibility that he might have a podium. So we'll see. Well, it all depends. People need to wake up.
I was hoping the one thing.
Shout out to all the people. Wake up.
That's the big thing. We have to wake up. We have to look, open your eyes, and look, and listen, and learn. Wake up. What America needs is somebody to take him by the hair or by the sides of the head and just shake him, and wake up. Look. Okay, you can call me paranoid, you can call me crazy, but just look at the facts. Make up your own mind. And stop listening to MSNBC and NBC and Fox News and all these medias that are swaying to one side or the other, and look. So yeah, that's the main thing. So we're gonna be done for today. I'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for waiting for me. I'm on iTunes. At least I know one of my episodes is. I don't know if this one will, because I think there's a couple swears in there. But you know what? All I care about is the people that are listening and the people that actually wake up. And thank you, Anthony, and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, man.
All right, bye.
Later.
I want to